Hello, everybody. I want to talk a little bit today about Valentine's Day. If you already have a Valentine, or maybe you have kids and you have multiple Valentines, I think that's great. And I want you to keep all of your Valentine's Day plans, but I want you to put yourself at the top of your Valentine's Day care this year. So I want you to be your number one Valentine. And what that means is you're going to plan a love ritual around yourself at some point, either on Valentine's Day or just sometime during Valentine's Day weekend when you have the time to really sit down and take care of yourself. And I talk to a lot of women about creating daily routines and taking time for yourself. And I hear over and over again women saying that they spend most of their time taking care of their husbands, their kids, their homes, and that they feel like they don't have any time left for themselves and they feel totally depleted, and they even feel like guilty taking time for themselves because they think that if they were to go to a yoga class or go do something for themselves, that that's selfish and that they need to be home with the kids. And I am here to tell you that when you are running around doing this, number one, you're kind of creating that martyr attitude of I do everything for everybody else, but then nothing gets done for me. And as adult women, it's our responsibility to fulfill our own needs, and we do not rely on anyone else to fulfill our needs for us. Now, someone else can fulfill our needs, and that's great if we have that support around us. But the key word here is relying on anyone else to fulfill our needs. It is our responsibility to fulfill our own needs. And then number two, if we have this martyr attitude and we are feeling sorry for yourself, that's the wrong energy to be bringing to our daily world, our daily tasks. And it is depleting. We're tired. So if we're doing everything for everybody and we're feeling sorry about it, we're going to be depleted. We're going to be running on empty, and our heart's not really going to be in the game. And so you're not really showing up as your best self at this point. You're showing up as half a version of who you actually want to be, because you're not taking the time to replenish yourself. And you're not realizing that it is your choice how much time you want to give to everyone around you. You are not being forced to, spend all of your time helping everybody. We can ask for more help. We can find ways to carve out a little bit of time. I have 2 kids, so I know exactly what it's like when you have little babies. It is so hard to find this time, and this is when you need the self-care probably the most. And so, carving out an hour every night where, the baby goes to sleep and you're able to take a bath and do an abhyanga and just have that little bit of time to yourself. Or maybe you get up an hour earlier in the morning and you have that meditation and that abhyanga morning massage. And so we're just kind of of course you can't just change everything overnight, and a lot of us really are being pulled in a million directions, but we can all carve out 30 minutes to an hour a day to take a bath, give ourselves a foot massage, do a little fascia release, spend a little time meditating, do an abhyanga oil massage. There's so many different ways that we can show ourselves self-love every day. And the cool thing is that when we start to do this daily, we learn to trust ourselves. And it's just like in any relationship. If you have a relationship that's built on trust, then it is a lot easier to feel safe and to feel that feeling of love. And so when we have self-trust, we are also developing self-love. And then another aspect of this self-care is that we are able to give ourselves our own nutrients and provide that care for ourselves. And through that self-care, we actually can show up for others as a better version of ourselves. So we can show up more present, we can show up with more understanding, we can show up as a better listener, we can show up with more patience. There's so many ways that we can actually be more helpful to those around us when we first take care of ourselves. And so it's actually not that selfless to constantly be giving and not taking the time to nurture yourself. And so this Valentine's Day, I want you to focus on developing some time and love rituals for yourself every day, and kind of just make a little plan to carve out 30 minutes to 60 minutes every day where you take just a tiny bit of time to rejuvenate yourself, recharge your batteries. And we need to stop feeling guilty about this, because as women, we have been conditioned to think that we need to spend like every minute, every day taking care of our family and being caretakers. And even if you don't have a family and you're not married, you probably still do this. Like, you probably still look around like, what can I do for everybody around me? So just kind of noticing that as women, we've been kind of conditioned to be this way, noticing how you can find ways to show up more for yourself and turn that energy more to like, what can I do for myself today? Like, what are my needs and where am I at? And so I think really turning the energy back on ourselves. So most men don't think all day long about how they can make everybody around them happy. They're thinking about like, okay, what do I need today in order to get through the day? And so men kind of were conditioned to be more naturally self-involved, whereas women have been conditioned to think that somehow this is like a bad thing. And so I'm just asking you for Valentine's Day to, instead of thinking about all of the Valentines you're going to give out this year, which is totally fine, do that if you want to and give out some Valentines. I'm going to do that too. But first, before we do any of that, we're going to plan out our own little self-love ritual on Valentine's Day, and we're going to take time to fill our own cup. And then I hope you find time, or you're able to figure out ways of carving out just like little bits of time for yourself every day. And if you want to see some of my ideas on daily rituals, I have other videos that I'll link in the description below for ideas. And I will see you in the next video.